Hello and welcome to the Spandex and Wine podcast. I'm your host, Robin Hackney, and I'm so happy that you're here. This podcast is a place for conversations about balancing a healthy lifestyle and being happy, more specifically, happy hour. Together, we'll explore all things wellness and wine. I hope you learn a little, laugh a lot, and along the way, know you're not alone on this balanced wellness journey. Ready to jump in? Pour something in your glass that makes you happy because it's time for Spandex and Wine. Hello and welcome to the Spandex and Wine podcast. I'm your host, Robin Hackney. So do you play cornhole, or maybe you call it throwing bags? Whether you do it just in your backyard, or if you're in a league, you like to join tournaments, you're ready to take your game to the next level, today's guest is going to be a treat for you. Or even if you are just looking for a mind-body connection, this is the episode for you. Today, I have Meesh, Hastie Thompson, and she is a mind-body expert and reporter using her passion for everything mind-body to support cornhole players on and off the courts. For the past 12 years, Michelle has been publishing books and appearing in the media, helping women utilize mind-body principles to live connected and fulfilled lives in their ideal bodies. She believes that cornhole can help people fulfill their needs for connection, competition, and community. I'm excited to tell you she is here today to share everything with us. I give you Michelle Hastie Thompson. Well, hello and welcome to the Spandex and Wine podcast, Michelle. I'm really happy that you are here and I'm excited to talk to you.
Oh, absolutely. I think the name got me. I'm like, Spandex and Wine, I'm in.
Okay, so you are an author, you're a podcaster, you're a mind-body expert, you're a reporter. I think I have everything. My head just kind of is spinning, thinking about everything that you do, but that's what you do, is help people stop the spinning in their mind.
That's right. That's the idea. I'm hoping
That's the idea. Yeah. And now you've also started retreats. You have a retreat coming up. The second year, I do believe, that you've done the retreat.
Yeah, this will be year 2. And hopefully this location, I can lock in and do all different kinds of retreats.
Nice. Good. Good. Well, I know I read somewhere that you have always enjoyed being in front of the microphone, and that started with you singing at a young age. So take me through, it looked like maybe writing books happened first. Where did all of this come from?
I mean, technically what happened first was I was a personal trainer at 24 Hour Fitness back when I was like 21. So that was kind of like the initial launch of me kind of putting myself in more of an assertive position, I guess, more of a leader type position. Just me and my client, but yeah, more than what I had done before. And then that kind of transitioned into me coaching people on their bodies and from the perspective of psychology and those kinds of things, which then made me really want to be able to get those messages on a larger stage, because what I learned as a personal trainer, I felt like was a bit out of date.
Yeah, no, yeah.
So I think it actually makes it more difficult for people to get healthy. It doesn't really work with the human as a human. It works with the human as a machine or a robot. So I was really committed to getting those messages out on big platforms and stages. And I just kept hitting brick wall over brick wall. Like, what the heck? I just want to share this information. Why is it so hard? And took a pause and said, okay, let me just not make that my way I make money for a moment, to take the pressure off of it and let it just be something fun again. And then look for another way that I can create income. And I started playing cornhole. So entered the world of cornhole. And when I started my female cornhole business, within 2 months, I got picked up by the American Cornhole League as a commentator. And then it just kind of went from there.
That's just so cool. So everything really just happened organically.
Definitely. I never really, I mean, when I was a kid, I wanted to be an actress. So I guess maybe it's not like super far-fetched, but I definitely don't want to be an actress anymore. But, I guess if you look at what I wanted as a young age, was to be, on a stage performing, and I am in a way.
Oh, you absolutely are. Yes. And it's so cool that you get to connect with all different kinds of people in different ways with your podcast, with your reporting, everything. And I'm sure that you have all kinds of stories. You have bloopers, you have, mishaps, but some really wonderful moments in there too. So how did you start throwing? Like, where did cornhole come in? Was it just with friends?
Yeah, so actually the first time I ever played it was at my friend's wedding long, long time ago, and it was like the fold up ones,
Oh,
like
yeah.
like plastic, you just like unfold them and put them in. I was like, this is fun, and I liked it a lot. And then I didn't really think much about it after that for many years. But then when we moved from Southern California to Northern California, my husband made a set of boards and then put them in our backyard. And then it was kind of like the thing. So if our garage was open, everybody knew because it was a really small town that they could pull up and throw bags. And I was like, it's cool. Like I'll throw, but I wasn't like super, excited about it until my husband was getting more and more addicted. And I was like, man, if I don't join him, I'm never going to see him. So
Yes.
then that kind of happened simultaneously with him taking my step away. And when I stopped stepping and just standing still and throwing, I was 100 times better. Not that I was great, but it was 100 times better. Like I could actually see myself having some kind of skill. Whereas when I stepped, I didn't. And it's because when I step, for whatever reason, I look down. I apparently don't trust where my foot's going to go.
Okay,
So,
well, I can understand that too.
yeah. So he's like, if you don't stop looking down, you're never going to know where your bag's going because you're looking up as you're releasing. So,
Ah, yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah.
it was a
Yeah.
game changer for me to stand still. And then I was like, oh, I could actually see the hole and I could aim. So that's kind of where the addiction started for me. And then I started doing my first competition, which was just a league night. I did really well. And I was like, wow, I'm okay at this. And then I stalled there forever. That was the peak, and that's where we stay.
Yeah. And I could totally relate because I used to step too. And my husband's like, Robin, you have too many moving parts. You
Uh-huh.
need to just, yes. And then the other piece of advice that really helped me came from another person that we were playing against. And he said, just keep throwing the same bag.
Hmm.
You don't have to adjust anything. I mean, depending on what it is. But
Yeah.
he's like, don't give up on it. Don't give up on your throw. Stick with it. You'll get into it.
Yeah.
And you say the same thing. So a couple of years ago, you had an online course that I took, and this was when I had just gotten into cornhole. And
Okay.
I took like 3 to 4 pages of notes. My husband came home. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I just took a half-hour course and I have 4 pages of notes.
That's awesome. Love to hear that.
I was so excited. But yeah, everything that you said, I mean, you were talking about getting into that zone and in that space. And I can't stay there yet, but I know
Hmm.
what you're talking about. Like when you get in that rhythm and that flow, and you can kind of recognize it in other people too. I mean, you see it all the
Yep.
time. Um, but the really good throwers, you can just see, oh, that's different. They're
Hmm.
there. And
Yeah,
that's
that's
what
a
you help people
presence.
do.
Yeah, that presence. It's something I've been passionate about in the health industry is cultivating more presence since the dieting industry is so disconnecting from the body since you have to kind of follow a bunch of external rules and it's usually at the sacrifice of your own internal systems and dialogue. So I became really passionate. That's why I did my yoga teacher training of mindfulness and actually using your body as your guide and trusting your body and not letting it be the enemy and like the cause of your problems and the thing you hate, kind of calling off that war and saying, wait a second, my body is the thing, A, that I live in and that keeps me alive, but it's also the thing that is responsible for all these things that I want to happen, whether it's weight loss or throwing a better bag. Like it's my body, it's not it's my arm. And so if you put in the reps, which is a big if, so if you've actually trained your arm and you have the
Hmm.
reps in there, then theoretically your arm already knows what to do. So if you can become present and let it do what you trained it to do and trust that it can, that's going to be your highest level of success. And it'll also show you, I need more reps. Like I don't have a good automation yet. So when I am present and
Hmm.
connected, I'm not doing the same thing every time. So I need to get more time in because I have people that reach out to me after they're playing for a few months and they're like, I want to be better. I'm like, you're not ready for me yet because I can't do the reps for you, right? You have to put the reps in,
Yeah.
and it has to be the same motion over and over. And that's tedious, and not everybody wants, it's not as fun. It's more fun to try an airmail or a
Yeah.
roll or a cut or push or something more fun. You don't want to just do the same slide motion over and over and over, but that's the only way you train automation.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and you said being present. What is one step that everyone can take to become more present?
It's going to sound really cliche, but it's your breath.
That's okay. Okay. No, that's not cliche at all. No.
Yeah, so
No.
your breath is your kind of entry level awareness or mindfulness practice because it's internal, and it's easy
Hmm.
to notice if you do take a moment. And what you'll find is that if you start paying attention to your breath, it changes when your emotional state changes. So if you're scared, it gets faster, or nervous, or pressure. I know for me, I noticed that when I released the bag, I would hold my breath. So just
Yeah.
noticing if I exhale, right, it's a more fluid motion. And then knowing that if you do slow down your breathing, it actually becomes a presence practice in itself without having to do much. So if you're playing cornhole or in a stressful situation, if you can just take a few deep breaths or notice your breath and calm it down, you will have better success than if you don't notice what the heck is going on with your breathing, or if you're like, I'm hyperventilating.
That's never good. That's never good.
No.
No, yeah, that makes total sense. I had, well, I'll just shout out his name, Bill Stoll. He really gave me a good piece of advice when he had said, Robin, you need to slow down your breath. And he said, I like to count with it too. So,
Mm.
like the way that I throw, it's 1, 2, 3, and I do my breath with that too. And it's so true. It makes you slow down.
Yeah, that's good for creating rhythm too. I always tell people you don't want to be in your head, but that doesn't mean you can't have mantras, right? You could, like some people say, follow through, or you could have certain things you say, but you don't want to have to remember to follow through. But it could be that when you trained your arm, that you train the words with the throw, but you don't want to have to like, I need to remember to follow through. Now you're in your head, right? But if it's something you've trained, like when you're out practicing and every release, follow through, follow through, then
Yeah.
that becomes the actual muscle memory.
Yeah. Like just stacking habits. Like you're
Yeah.
going to throw, that's one thing. So put that other maybe mantra with it. I like that. That's good. That's good. Okay. Okay, I'm super curious because on my phone I learned how to put the widget on for my PPR so now I can see it, which is not necessarily a good thing right now.
I'm with you.
So what is your PPR?
Oh, I throw about a 6 on average.
That's great. Yeah,
Yeah.
good. Yeah, I'm a little below there. I'm as of yesterday, I'm 5.7. I shouldn't
Hey,
look.
you're
It's like
right
getting
there.
on the scale. It's like getting on the scale. I shouldn't do that.
I don't know. I guess to me, I don't expect it to be any higher because I don't put time in. So, I play once a week max. So I don't expect it to move. That would be
Yeah.
miraculous, right?
Yeah.
To
But
get
you're
better
so
at
busy.
something.
Yeah. You have so many other things going.
Honestly, it's the late nights. I mean, I don't know if it's just as I get older, but like if I play on a Thursday, my husband's like, "Do you want to play Friday?" I'm like, "Not if we play Thursday." I
Oh my
can't do 2 nights
gosh.
in a row.
Dave Hackney, did you just hear that? Yes. My husband's the same way. And he thinks I'm crazy, but I get up early. Did you get up early?
I mean, I just naturally wake up between like 6 and 6:30. I can't
Okay.
help it. It's just how yeah. So no matter what, even if I go to bed late, I still wake up at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. My day starts early because I teach fitness classes as well. And as you used to do. So I'm up by like 4:30. So I'm like, I can't.
Oh,
No.
yeah. Oof.
Yeah.
That's real
And
early. I don't blame you. And I'm like, some people don't need a lot of sleep. Like Anthony Ione, who's one of my co-broadcasters, like when we travel, he's like, I'll sleep when I'm dead. And he does fine. Like he can just be functional, but I cannot. I'm like,
no.
okay, I'll be napping.
Yes. I have to have food. I have to sleep. I just need
Agreed.
basics.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basics.
Basics. So what fun ACL events do you have coming up?
That's so funny. We just actually went through the schedule with the ACL team, with the pros and the staff. It's obviously can't be released publicly yet. So it's going to be a really interesting season. It looks like a lot less traveling, but a lot more broadcasts when I travel. So that's going to be potentially better for me, but I'm excited to see where it takes me and what events I'll be at, but I technically don't really know yet. So
Oh,
I'm kind of in the
okay.
dark a little bit. They shared as much as they could, but it's still being worked out.
Okay. Oh, that's really cool. And on your podcast, you have a couple pros with you, correct?
So I have Wally, another co-commentator for Baggin' and Braggin', and then on Around the ACL, it's me, Trey, and Anthony. So those are my co-broadcasters. And then on Baggin' and Braggin', we bring pros on for interviews each week.
Oh, very cool. That's got to be so interesting too, to have those conversations. Like, I mean, what's one of your first questions? Is there a lineup that you do, the same questions, or
Yeah,
does it just depend
now.
on?
Yeah, Wally and I kind of changed it up for this season. So we do actually have like a series of questions that we ask each pro, but before it was just kind of a free for all. And it was more just about like who was hot from what event and then kind of talking about like more of like a current event thing. Now we're actually just trying to get like interviews and you could fit them in anywhere in the season. So we're asking them things like, what shaped you to be who you are today? What are your life goals? What are your cornhole goals? What are things people wouldn't know about you and stuff like that? And one of the fun questions we've been asking is, what game show do you think you could win? And the answers have been fun, like a lot of Family Feud. So I think we need to get a cornhole Family Feud going pretty soon here.
Oh my gosh, that would be hilarious. That's great. That is wonderful. And with your retreats, do you see yourself expanding to more than one a year?
Yeah, so that's kind of my hope is that this venue will check all the boxes. Last year's was great. It's just it can't grow because I got an Airbnb, so it's a house, and so it only has so many rooms. And the other thing was it was on the beach, so like their board placement and weather, like it just got really challenging. We
Mm.
made it all work, and we got super lucky with weather. But that didn't seem like the ideal location for duplicating. But I'm hoping this venue will be ideal because it's cabins. And then they have a big open space that I can fit pretty much as many boards as I want
Oh
because
wow.
this venue or cabin space or whatever is tons of acres, and it's flat and it's grass, so it's an ideal situation for boards. So and then there's 50 cabins, so I could theoretically grow it to as many as I want. There's no limitation there. So we'll see.
Wow, that's cool.
It's remote. So, I bought the internet package. We'll see how the internet works
Oh
for like running
gosh.
tournaments. But and it's glamping, right? Because it's really nice cabins, but you are camping.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm hoping this is the location for me, and I picked Texas since it's central and that
Hmm.
more people can get to it. And then if this is the one, then I will start duplicating with other audiences. But if it's not, then I'm going to keep just doing one until I find the location that I can use for all of them.
Oh, I love that. It's like cornhole camp. This one
Cornhole
time at
camp,
cornhole
yeah.
camp.
Exactly. It makes it a lot more affordable too. Like I was looking into, some nicer options. So it's like a really like more high-end retreat, but man, what I'd have to charge for people to get there. And then it just didn't seem like the right audience. Like people don't want to fork over 5 grand. Like yoga retreats, people are used to it, but this is a
Yeah.
different audience.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's true. Would you ever think about like going on tour and going to different cities and holding workshops?
As workshops, yes. Retreats, no, it's too big of a beast.
No, no, no. I
But
understand. I just started doing retreats too. I get that. I hear you.
yeah, it's definitely a lot. I mean, it's full on event planning, but yeah, I speaking and doing workshops and one day events are much easier.
Yes. We'll put Kansas City on your list because we would love to have you here.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to talk to the ACL, but I don't know if it probably won't happen this season, but maybe next season, piggybacking off the opens.
Oh, cool.
Right. So then that way people are already traveling to these opens and I can just add a couple workshops and clinics to the front or back end of it. And that way people don't have to travel twice. And then you could sign up for a workshop maybe with a pro or with me on mindset, things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very cool. So do you have any more books in your future?
Maybe, but I am back in dissertation. So definitely not anytime soon. I got to get through that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I took a pause. So I was about to complete my PhD program. I completed the coursework. I just had to do my research project, but I picked a quantitative study and I couldn't get enough sample the participants. It was almost impossible, and I kept hitting walls, and I just stopped and said, I need to take a pause once again
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
wait till this is going to be easier. Because otherwise I'm just wasting money and time. And so I took 2 years off, and then I kind of found my new study. So I re-enrolled, just started back in this month. And so it'll probably be 2 years before I graduate.
Oh, gotcha. Good. Well, you have three books out there right now, and I'm assuming people can get them on Amazon or
Yep, absolutely.
okay,
Amazon,
very cool.
all the places.
Yeah. And then you do coaching too. So do you do one-on-one group coaching? How does that work?
Right now, one-on-one, but I prefer group coaching. It's funny,
Hmm.
the cornhole people, if you don't make it just about cornhole, they're difficult to entice. So,
Wow. Okay.
yeah, so like I have like said like, hey, would you like a group coaching program where we talk about mindset and various other life satisfaction things? And it's like a lukewarm response. But if I was like, hey, me and XYZ Pro are gonna do something every month, they're like, I'm in. So
Oh my gosh.
I don't really want, I mean, that's something I'm working on in the background as well as having something with pros on an ongoing basis that would be group. But the problem with that is then it's so much more work because now I got to depend on another person to show up and do things. Whereas if it's just me, I know I can, get it done the way I need to get it done.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have to ask too, is your husband just sitting back and just like going, wow, I mean, seriously, we started at a wedding and now you're on television.
Maybe, I don't know. He's known probably since, I mean, so we met at the gym when I was a personal trainer, um and so that was kind of at the beginning of my desire to be on big stages. And so he's known since our entire relationship, which is 15 years, that my goal has always been TV. So I don't even know how he feels about it, but I hope it was inevitable.
Yeah. Wow, that's cool. So if that was always your goal, I'm assuming you believe also in like manifesting and visualizing and all of that.
Definitely. I think that we don't have desires for everything. We have desires for certain things. So if a desire manifests in front of me and I feel really strongly about something, then I assume it must be doable. So I don't put too much weight on it anymore. Like I used to hold on to those desires really tightly and put a lot of pressure on them manifesting. Now I just say, I don't know, it could be in the next year, it could be in the next 10 years. I have no clue, but I don't have any doubt that in some way it will manifest. Not exactly sure,
Yeah.
but I always hold the belief that this or something better. So if my mind tells me that I want this, it's that or it's something better that I haven't even thought of.
Oh, I love that. This or something better. That's cool. That's very good. Well,
Yeah.
how can everyone find you?
Yeah, cornholemeesh.com. I spell Meesh, Meesh. That's pretty much all my social media handles as well as Cornhole Meesh. So I post videos on YouTube every once in a while and TikTok. And then we post content on Instagram and Facebook. But my website has free stuff on there that you can sign up for, free entry level courses and then inexpensive courses if you want to go a little bit deeper, but it's all there.
Absolutely. Oh, very cool. I'll make sure I put all of that in the show notes. And anything else that you want to say to the someone that's just sitting on the sidelines, they are afraid to throw because that happens. So we have a lady that just 2 years ago, not even 2 years ago, a year ago, she was just like, I will never throw. I will never throw. Now she's helping her husband run tournaments. I
Love
mean,
it.
yeah, I know. I love to watch it too. I mean, I was the same way. I was just sitting back and I'm like, oh no. And then I just did it and I love it.
Yeah, my sister-in-law was the same way. She used to help me check people in, but she would never play. And then one time somebody left early. Sometimes that happens when you run tournaments. And so someone's like, I'm like, you need to go step in. And she's like, okay. And she did. And then she was like, she got over the fear. But my advice is, is to look into that a little bit deeper because while you may think, well, I just don't want to compete in cornhole. Like, what's the big deal? There's probably something deeper going on, like a fear of um, being seen mess up or a fear of whatever, someone's opinion of you or approval. maybe a lack of confidence, just general confidence in yourself or your abilities. I've really had to cultivate and work really hard to build a lot of confidence in myself in general, which allows me to kind of step into any situation of an unknown and trust that I'll be okay. Trust that I can do it. Maybe not great the first few hundred times, but eventually I will if I keep putting time and get good at something. And that's kind
Yeah.
of the growth mindset preface. So I would say that while you may think, well, who cares if I don't want to play cornhole? I think that's a great kind of insight to look at yourself a little bit deeper and say, why won't I just go do it? What am I so afraid of? What's the worst that can
Yeah.
happen? And why is that such a big deal to me? And maybe if I work on that, not only will I have more fun at cornhole events, but it could open up to a happier lifestyle in general.
Oh, absolutely. That's great. And I also have to say that the Cornhole community is just wonderful. I mean, it's a family. It's so cool how everyone supports each other and so many different walks of life.
Yeah, but sometimes they don't. And so I do feel like you kind of
Oh,
have to set people up. There are people who are really competitive. And so sometimes they won't be good at um, minimizing their distaste for their partner who's new,
okay.
right? That happens.
True,
And
true.
so these are, and if you allow that to discourage you, then you're giving them so much power and it has
Hmm.
nothing to do with you. It's their own stuff, right? They're afraid to be seen in a way of losing. They're afraid. So it's their own stuff they're projecting. So I've gotten to a point in my life. I can't say I don't care what people think. That would be a lie, but I try to not care what people think that don't have a big role in my life.
Hmm.
So I care what
Yeah.
my husband thinks. He's important and his opinion has more depth to it because he actually knows me. But random person at cornhole event that I've talked all of 3 sentences to has judgments about me or feelings about me, that's not my business because they don't actually even know me. So I'm not
Yeah.
going to give too much weight to whatever their distaste is, that they're scoffing or they're, ugh, or, oh, you just try to hit the board. Like, I'm going to ignore that to the best I can because I know it's not about me. Their opinion about me is irrelevant because they don't know me.
Hmm.
And why am I going to allow this other person to rob me of my fun? Let them rob themselves of their fun. I'm always doing the best I can. So if the best I can is not up to their standards, that's a them problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. That's great advice. Well, Michelle, I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you have a really busy schedule, and I'm grateful that you were here.
Oh, it's so much fun. I love being on podcasts. I'm so happy to do it.
All right. Well, you take care, and hopefully I'll see you in Kansas City or at one of your retreats soon.
Okay, sounds great.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, that was so much fun. I got caught up in the moment and I totally forgot to even ask her if she drinks wine. And she did reply back to my message and said, yes, she loves wine and Pinot Grigio is typically what is in her glass. Here are a few takeaways from our conversation. 1, while it might sound corny, cornhole may lead to something bigger, so give it a try. 2, being present allows your body to do what you trained it to do. Use your body as a guide and trust it. 3, to get better at cornhole or really anything, you have to put in the tedious reps and time and train automation. 4, step 1 to being present is your breath. If you begin paying attention to your breath, you'll notice it changes in various emotional states. Learn to control it. Slowing it down becomes a practice in presence. 5, you don't want to be in your head, but using a mantra or words tied to the breath can make that mantra a part of your automation. 6, Cornhole Camp exists. Check out the show notes for details on Michelle's retreat. 7, we don't have desires for everything. We have desires for certain things. If a desire manifests in front of you, consider it doable. As Michelle says, this or something better. I have to also give a couple shout outs. So Midwest Elite Cornhole, run by Jeff Quick and Ryan Ramirez with the help of Bill and Lori Stoll and Chris Price and so many others, is a great place to start your cornhole journey. They are now in the entire Kansas City area and they have almost every night there is a league or a tournament or some type of event that you can jump into. And I'll make sure that I put that information in the show notes. Another shout out to State Line Baggers run by Mike Law and Jamie Bush. They have been wonderful too. And they are south of the city in Drexel, Missouri. And there's so many other organizations out there. So you can reach out to me at any time at info@spandexandwine.com. And I would be happy to help guide you or just do a search wherever you live. Cornhole's everywhere, and I'm telling you, it is so much fun, and anyone can do it. Thank you for listening. If you're enjoying this podcast, be sure to follow Spandex and Wine so you don't miss an episode. To do this, just go to the podcast and click subscribe or follow wherever you are listening. Look for the plus sign or follow button. This is one of the best things that you can do for the podcast. If you'd also be willing to give a 5-star review, that would be amazing and much appreciated. Lastly, please share an episode with a friend or 5 to keep the love going, and join the Spandex and Wine community in our private Facebook group by searching Spandex and Wine. Feel free to reach out to me at any time by emailing info@spandexandwine.com or text me at 913-392-2877. I appreciate you. Thank you.